A 1906 medical photo of two patients until they realized one figure had no source. The photograph appears innocent enough at first glance. Two figures seated on a wooden bench outside what appears to be a medical facility, captured in these sepia tones characteristic of early 20th century photography. The first figure is crystal clear, a young woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile, her tuberculosis patient identification number visible on a small placard beside her. But the second figure presents something far more troubling. While clearly human in form, this person appears strangely faded, as if the camera struggled to capture their essence. Their features are indistinct, their clothing barely visible, and their presence seems to hover somewhere between reality and shadow. What if a person in a historical photograph had absolutely no evidence of ever existing? Margaret Whitmore had spent 15 years as a medical archivist digitizing thousands of photographs from American sanatoriums of the early 1900s. Her work at the National Medical History Archive involved painstaking examination of patient records, cross-referencing images with admission logs, and creating comprehensive digital databases of America's tuberculosis treatment facilities. She had seen countless photographs of patients, staff, and visitors, each telling their own story of hope, suffering, and recovery. But on a cold Tuesday morning in November, Margaret encountered something that would challenge everything she understood about historical documentation. The photograph in question came from the Riverside Sanatorium in Asheville, North Carolina, dated September 15th, 1906. The facility had been one of the most progressive tuberculosis treatment centers of its time, known for its open-air therapy and meticulous record-keeping. Margaret was digitizing the final batch of patient files when she loaded the image onto her high-resolution scanner. As the photograph materialized on her computer screen, Margaret immediately noticed the unusual quality of the second figure. While the primary subject was perfectly clear, the companion appeared unnaturally translucent. Margaret had encountered faded photographs before. Damage from age, moisture, or improper storage often affected image quality. But this was different. The fading seemed selective, affecting only one person while leaving everything else in perfect condition. Margaret leaned closer to her monitor, adjusting the brightness and contrast. The first figure remained sharp and detailed, but no amount of digital enhancement could bring clarity to the second presence. It was as if this person existed in a different photographic dimension entirely. Her first instinct was to identify both subjects. The clear figure was easily recognizable from the patient placard visible in the image. Cross-referencing with the sanatorium's admission records, Margaret quickly identified her as Clara Elizabeth Morrison, age 23, admitted for pulmonary tuberculosis on July 2nd, 1906. Clara's file was comprehensive, including admission forms, treatment notes, and discharge papers dated December 10th, 1906, indicating a successful recovery. But the second figure presented an immediate dead end. Despite the sanatorium's reputation for meticulous documentation, no records existed for any patient matching the physical description of the mysterious presence. Margaret searched admission logs for the entire year, looking for anyone who might have been Clara Morrison's roommate, fellow patient, or visitor. The records showed no gaps, no missing files, no unexplained absences in the documentation. Growing increasingly frustrated, Margaret decided to seek expert consultation. She contacted Dr. Harrison Blackwood, a historian specializing in early 20th century American medical institutions. Dr. Blackwood had authored several definitive works on tuberculosis sanatoriums and possessed an encyclopedic knowledge of patient records from facilities across the country. when Margaret presented the photograph to Dr. Blackwood, his initial reaction mirrored her own confusion. The selective fading was unlike anything he had encountered in decades of historical research. Together, they performed an exhaustive search through regional medical records, looking for any mention of a patient with matching physical characteristics or a similar case profile during that time period. Their investigation expanded to include visitor logs, staff records, and even local newspaper obituaries from the period. They examined photographs from other sanatoriums, wondering if the mysterious figure might have been transferred from another facility. Every avenue led to the same conclusion. This person, despite appearing in an official medical photograph, had left no trace of their existence in any historical record. Dr. Blackwood suggested the possibility of a photographic error. Double exposures were common in 1906, and sometimes images could be accidentally superimposed during the developing process. But Margaret's digital analysis revealed no evidence of tampering or technical mistakes. Using advanced photographic analysis software, Margaret examined the image at the pixel level. The results were deeply unsettling. While Clara Morrison's image showed all the characteristics of authentic 1906 gelatin silver print photography, the mysterious second figure displayed entirely different properties. The pixels that formed this presence registered light patterns that were inconsistent with the photographic technology of the era. Even more disturbing, the spectral analysis revealed that the second figure appeared to be composed of light that fell outside the normal spectrum captured by early 20th century cameras. It was as if this presence existed in a wavelength that conventional photography should not have been able to record. Determined to find answers, Margaret and Dr. Blackwood returned to Clara Morrison's original patient file, examining every document with renewed scrutiny. Hidden among the routine medical reports and treatment schedules, they discovered something that had been overlooked during the initial digitization process: Clara's personal journal, handwritten pages that had never been transcribed into the official records. The journal entry, dated September 15th, 1906, the same day the photograph was taken, contained a revelation that changed the entire nature of their investigation. Clara had written, "Today I felt the presence again, sitting beside me during our afternoon rest period on the terrace. The nurses cannot see her, but I know she is there. She whispers words of comfort when my coughing fits are severe, and her touch brings coolness when the fever burns within me. I have come to think of her as my guardian of quiet, for when she appears, all pain seems to fade into peaceful silence. Dr. Williams says I am improving faster than expected, and I believe it is because of her constant care." Additional entries revealed that Clara had experienced this presence throughout her stay at the sanatorium. The mysterious companion appeared during Clara's most difficult moments, offering comfort and healing that seemed to accelerate her recovery. Clara described conversations with this guardian, moments of shared silence, and an overwhelming sense of protection that surrounded her during her darkest hours. The discovery of the journal transformed their investigation from a historical mystery into something far more profound. The faint figure wasn't an unrecorded patient or a photographic anomaly. It was something else entirely, a guardian spirit that had somehow been captured on film. Margaret and Dr. Blackwood delved deeper into the sanatorium's architectural history. They discovered that Clara Morrison's room was located in the east wing of the facility, adjacent to a section of the building that had been destroyed in a devastating fire on March the 23rd, 1907, just months after Clara's discharge. The destroyed wing had housed the facility's terminal patients, those for whom recovery was no longer possible. The fire had been swift and complete, consuming not only the building, but most of the medical records for that section. No comprehensive list existed of the patients who had been in that wing during the fire, as the administrative offices had been among the first areas destroyed. Hospital records indicated that 17 patients had perished in the blaze, but individual identities had been lost when the filing cabinets burned. The official report listed them simply as 17 souls lost to flame and smoke, their names committed to God's eternal memory. As Margaret and Dr. Blackwood pieced together the timeline, a haunting possibility emerged. Clara Morrison had been treated during the final months before the fire, when the doomed wing still housed its tragic residents. The guardian of quiet that Clara described in her journal may have been the spirit of one of those patients, someone who died in that wing and whose earthly records were destroyed just months later. The theory suggested that this benevolent spirit had attached itself to living patients, offering comfort and healing to those who still had hope for recovery. Clara's rapid improvement, noted by her physicians as unusually swift, might have been aided by this supernatural intervention. The guardian's compassionate presence had somehow been strong enough to imprint itself on photographic film, creating a visual record of spiritual care that transcended traditional documentation. The digital anomaly in the photograph wasn't an error or a trick of light. It was evidence of a profound connection between the living and the dead, captured in a moment when the veil between worlds had grown thin enough for a camera to record the impossible. Margaret examined other photographs from the Riverside Sanatorium, searching for additional evidence of supernatural presences. While most images showed only the expected subjects, she found 3 other photographs containing similar anomalies: faint, translucent figures appearing alongside patients who, according to their medical records, had experienced unexpectedly positive outcomes during their treatment. In each case, the affected patients had left journal entries or letters describing mysterious companions, healing presences, or guardian angels who had provided comfort during their darkest hours. The pattern suggested that multiple spirits from the doomed wing had remained at the sanatorium, continuing their mission of care even after their own deaths. Dr. Blackwood's research revealed that the Riverside Sanatorium had gained a reputation among patients and staff for its unusually high recovery rates and the profound sense of peace that seemed to permeate the facility. Former patients frequently wrote letters describing their stays as transformative experiences that went far beyond medical treatment. Now, Margaret and Dr. Blackwood understood why. The sanatorium had been home to a community of guardian spirits, patients who had died within its walls, but whose compassionate souls remained to care for those who followed. These benevolent presences had created an atmosphere of healing that enhanced the medical treatment, offering spiritual comfort that accelerated physical recovery. The mysterious figure in Clara Morrison's photograph represented something beautiful and profound: the enduring power of human compassion to transcend death itself. While conventional records could not identify this guardian, the photographic evidence proved that love and care continue beyond the boundaries of mortal existence. Margaret carefully cataloged the supernatural photographs in a special section of the digital archive, creating detailed documentation of each anomalous presence. While she could not provide names or biographical information for these spiritual guardians, she could preserve the evidence of their continued existence and their mission of healing. The investigation concluded not with a traditional identification, but with a deeper understanding of the profound connections that exist between human souls. the guardian of quiet remained anonymous, but their purpose was clear: to offer comfort to the suffering and hope to the dying, creating a legacy of compassion that survived even when official records burned to ash. Clara Morrison's photograph stands as testament to the invisible forces of healing that surround us, reminding us that sometimes the most important presences in our lives are those that leave no trace in conventional records, but imprint themselves forever on our hearts and occasionally on photographic film that captures more than the eye can see. The mystery was solved not through identification, but through recognition of love's power to transcend the boundaries between life and death, creating guardians who watch over us from realms beyond our normal perception, offering comfort to all who need healing in their darkest hours. Years after completing her investigation, Margaret Whitmore received an unexpected letter that would add one final chapter to the Guardian of Quiet story. The correspondence came from Eleanor Morrison Chen, Clara Morrison's great-niece, who had discovered her ancestor's journal while cleaning out a family estate in California. Eleanor had read about Margaret's research online and wanted to share additional pages from Clara's journal that had somehow remained in the family's possession. These final entries, written after Clara's discharge from the sanatorium, revealed that the Guardian of Quiet had continued to appear to Clara throughout her long life. Clara had lived to age 89, enjoying robust health and a fulfilling career as a nurse. In her later journal entries, she described how the Guardian of Quiet had appeared during other significant moments, when Clara's own children fell seriously ill, during her husband's battle with cancer, and even at Clara's bedside during her final peaceful moments in 1962. The Guardian's presence had evolved from providing comfort during Clara's own illness to appearing whenever Clara was called to care for others. Clara wrote that she'd come to understand her mysterious companion as a teacher, showing her how love and compassion could bridge the gap between the living and the dead, between despair and hope. Most remarkably, Clara's final journal entry described teaching her own granddaughter to recognize the presence of healing guardians, passing down the ability to perceive these benevolent spirits to the next generation. Eleanor confirmed that this gift had indeed been inherited, and that she too had experienced the presence of protective spirits throughout her life. This revelation suggested that the Guardian of Quiet phenomenon extended far beyond the walls of the Riverside Sanatorium, representing a continuing network of spiritual care that spans generations, touching lives across decades and continents, proving that some mysteries are solved not by finding answers, but by discovering that the mystery itself is the answer. The photograph from 1906 now holds an even deeper significance in Margaret's archive. What began as a simple digitization project had uncovered evidence of something profound and eternal, the unbroken chain of compassion that connects all human souls across time and death. The faint, translucent figure beside Clara Morrison was not merely a ghost or an unexplained anomaly, but a representative of humanity's deepest truth, that love persists beyond physical existence. Dr. Blackwood published their findings in the Journal of Paranormal Historical Research, but the academic community remained divided. Skeptics dismissed the photographic evidence as coincidental light refractions or developing errors. However, the story resonated powerfully with readers around the world, inspiring thousands to share their own encounters with mysterious guardians during times of illness, grief, or desperation. Margaret continues her work at the National Medical History Archive, but now she approaches each photograph with heightened awareness. She has discovered similar anomalies in images from hospitals, orphanages, and care facilities across America, suggesting that guardian spirits may be far more common than previously imagined. Each discovery adds another piece to an enormous puzzle that reveals the hidden spiritual infrastructure supporting human healing and recovery throughout history. The Guardian of Quiet remains nameless, but their legacy lives on in every act of unexplained comfort, every mysterious recovery, and every moment when love transcends the boundaries of the visible world.